Hi guys, welcome to another edition of Trading Success Podcast for this week, the 30th of September. So this is our grand final edition because we've just had a massive weekend down in Melbourne for the AFL Grand Final between the Brisbane Lions and the Sydney Swans. It was a cracking game. I was with my brother, who was a mad Brisbane Lions supporter, and it was a cracking. I'll say that twice. It was a great weekend. Melbourne knows how to put an event on, and it was sensational. Weather was amazing, and a great game. The Brisbane Lions were just fantastic. And let's look at the financial markets this week because it's there's a bit of news around. So let's look at that news that's coming up. So let's look at the week ahead for the 30th of September, 2024. Now, once again, any advice given is only general advice. We can only give, like I said, we're not financial planners. We don't give personal advice. And this is all general information only, and past performance of this product is no future indication of future results. Now, let's look at the financial news. So yesterday, which was Monday, we had some Chinese manufacturing in the morning, and services PMI was better than expected. The market was quite strong yesterday. We also had Chairman Powell speak in the morning. That increased the volatility, but the market did finish up, hasn't tested all-time highs. We'll look at the charts, but the market was quite strong yesterday, considering it was a Monday. Now, today we have in Europe, so Tuesday at 7 p.m, we have core CPI, so that'll be after our live trading room session in the Eurozone. We also have on Wednesday, Tuesday late night into Wednesday early morning. So if you're staying up tonight to trade in the US cash market, there's US manufacturing PMI and ISM manufacturing PMI, and also jobs openings as well. Wednesday, we've got OPEC meetings all day, so that will probably affect oil. So look out if you're trading oil on Wednesday, there could be some spikes in price. Also, Wednesday at 10:15 p.m, we got ADP non-employment. Is that non-employment change? Non-farm employment change, I believe. I might have got a bit of a typo there. I think it's non-farm employment change. Then we've got Thursday 10:30 and into Friday early morning. Once again, if you're staying up trading Thursday night in the live trading room, I'll be doing Thursday and Friday night US cash markets this week. So looking forward to that. We've got US employment claims, final services PMI, and ISM PMI as well. So that should be fairly volatile. And then Friday night is the big one. We've got the non-farm employment change. So that's always a big one as well. So you've got the two employment newses this week, two red flag newses. But the Friday night seems to be has more volatility than the Wednesday typically. Also, too, just a quick update on the US election. You can see here, Donald Trump has narrowed the gap somewhat. There's about a 7% gap now between them. So Trump did, we can see Trump starting to increase a little bit in popularity. Harris came off a little bit this week, but as they say, it's going to come down to really about 6 or 7 swing states. It's going to be very, very tight. So we'll see what happens. Almost a month out to the election, by the way. So, about 5 weeks. So, markets should start to get a little bit volatile leading into that time, and then particularly coming out of it, we'll see. I think a direction long term should be set in place once that comes out. Now, let's review the markets. So, we'll look at the S&P 500, Nasdaq, gold. We'll look at the micro Bitcoin. We'll look at crude oil. And one of interest to look at the moment is the Aussie dollar. If you've got any shares in metals or some of the big mining companies, you would have noticed there's been quite a big rise in some of those stocks in Australia over the last week. And because of those increasing metal prices, we've seen the Aussie dollar increase its value against the US dollar. US dollar has come off a little bit, as we've seen. You're following the dollar index that is hanging on at around the 100 level, but they're expecting that US dollar to go down even lower. So if you're looking to fund your accounts in US dollars, it's getting to a little bit better time than it has been. We're at pretty much 12-month highs. The last time we were this high was actually December 2023, so right at the end of the year. So we're getting back up to highs again. It's been, Aussie dollar's been pretty woeful most of this year, but it has been appreciating over the last month or so. All right, so let's look at these markets. So we'll start with the S&P 500. Where are we? So S&P 500. So this is the extended trading hours data. So this is the 24-hour data or the 23-hour data. So you can see I had this balanced range last week. Market broke out of that balanced range finally last week. And then on Friday, it actually came back underneath, back into this balanced range, this big candle here, which was the news candle from the FOMC news candle, or news day, all right? That was the big move. So the market has sort of come back into that. However, Monday, we pushed down and we closed above the all-time highs. And on Tuesday, today, we're already testing all-time highs. So we made all-time highs last Thursday and on the S&P 500, and we're holding above. We're kind of outside of that last balance range. Now, we do have another balance range here. So we've got Thursday, Friday, and then we've got Monday tested outside of that balance. And then Friday, Monday has came back up into the high. So now we're holding inside this balance here for the S&P 500. So I think, obviously we're going to have news later in the week that should affect price, but I'd be watching, particularly see this little trend line I've drawn down here. You can see that's acting as quite a level of support here. So if the market holds back under that trend line, I think we could see a temporary fall. But if the market wants to keep continuing to the upside, well, we'll keep grinding high. But I'd be watching this trend line here on the S&P 500 to see if we can get below that and then look for shorts below that level. So this is the regular trading hours. So you can see regular trading hours in the US cash market was grinding higher all last week. And then this was Monday's candle. That was Friday. Friday did test that trend line. We did break under. We did open underneath it last night. We tested low, but we've got back above it. So the market is holding above this level at the moment. But you can see on this particular market, on the S&P 500 on the cash market, which is obviously the US cash market hours, you can see we've got this balance here. So that's the range that US cash traders will be watching, is that kind of range there. So we can see here that the market is trading within that balance at the moment. So news will probably likely affect the price and the volatility. Let's look at the NASDAQ. NASDAQ is very similar. NASDAQ has not got back up to all-time highs. So S&P 500 made all-time highs last week. NASDAQ is struggling to get back up to all-time highs at the present moment in time. You can see we have failed at these expansion cluster zones from this swing down. So we've been rallying back up against that for the last 3 weeks. And once again, we've got this trend line here that the market is, I'd be watching to see the market break that trend line. It was holding off all last week. So that's quite an obvious reference point to watch. Now gold, the bull run slowed down on Monday. So we saw a correction on Monday, but all last week, the market was rallying high. So the market's making higher highs, one time framing. It has created some of these imbalance zones. So I'd be watching these imbalance zones to be filled. You can see it got filled on Monday, Tuesday. Let's see if the market wants to fill these imbalance zones. If the market finds support at these imbalance zones, I'd be looking for longs down here. Gold is still very bullish. Bitcoin also was very bullish last week. However, we are coming back into that initial trend line here. So the market has pulled back, very similar to gold. We've seen the market pull back over the last couple of days. Once again, you want to see the market get back above this trend line. This is the area where gold has Bitcoin has been struggling. We need to get back above that 62 to 64 range, and then we'll look for a move back up to 68. But at this point in time, it's looking like it's struggling. It's back into this balance, these balance bars here. And it's still undecided on where it's going. It is holding against these major trend indicators here. And it is in an uptrend on the larger indicators and also on the shorter time trend indicators. So Bitcoin is still holding bullish at the moment. It's done a nice recovery after this range, but we are in this kind of breakout bull flag type of pattern. So it's only time before I think Bitcoin really starts to move to the upside, but it's just grinding at the moment. Oil, we do have news coming out this week with oil, obviously OPEC meetings. Oil is finding some balance here around that 69, 68,000. It's right on the 50% of this range. We've come back down into this imbalance zone here and we've found a bit of support there. So that would be a support level that I'd be looking to see oil hold off around 67, 68. And we'll probably see a retest of this liquidity zone up around 72. If we break out of 72, we'll see if we can get back up to 75, $74. So we are holding above the buy liquidity zones here. And looks like we're going to be testing 72 eventually, but this is looking like a really nice place for a longer term oil buy trade down here at these levels. And last but not least, the Aussie dollar. Aussie dollar, you can see here on the daily chart, Aussie dollar has been, we can see we've got a lot of support down here around 64 cents. That was the all-time, or not the all-time high, but the most recent high back in end of the year 2023. And now we've finally tested that level. Now, not surprising, we're failing up at these clusters at this point in time. So will this market find some resistance here, or will we break out of the clusters? If we can get back above 69 cents, then obviously 70 is like a testing area. So if we get back above 70, then we could be grinding higher. But nice stair step in the market here, and we're making higher highs and higher lows. So we've been basically one time framing since the middle of September. So Aussie dollar is looking very good. So if you're looking to transfer some US dollars, it's been the best it's been for nearly 12 months. So that's a positive sign. If you're wanting to fund your account, you'll get a better exchange rate than what it has been most of the year. Anyway, guys, that concludes the week ahead. Thanks for joining the Trading Success Podcast. And just, like I think NASDAQ and S&P 500, just recap, I think just watch that trend line on the low side. It is teetering. It's moving up very weakly. So I think we're going to see a little correction and some volatility coming into the elections in the next month. So once again, I think wonderful trading opportunities. There's very nice moves in the market. Really focus on trading off those extreme levels. Look for those liquidity zones on the smaller time frames. I think you'll be in a good position to capitalize on those moves. But have a great week, everyone, and stay safe, and we'll see you next week. Bye for now.